Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today we're doing something quite specific. We're focusing on just one source. It's detailing the legal charges after a fatal road accident.
Yes, and it's serious material, of course. So our aim here is to be really objective for you, the listener.
Absolutely. We need to pull out the clear facts, define the scene, the exact charges, and importantly, understand this unusual operational context mentioned in the report.
Exactly. So by the end, you should have a good grasp of the timeline, the specific legal charge, and this whole business about the road conditions, particularly that third lane system.
Okay, let's start with the core fact then. Police Corporal Yonel Almari Cumberbatch has been charged.
That's right. Charged in connection with the death of a 15-year-old boy, Navindra Mahez.
Such a tragedy. To understand the legal side, we really need to first picture the scene where this happened.
Let's do that. So the victim, Navindra Mahez, just 15 years old.
15.
And the incident happened on October 30th. The time given is around 7:30 a.m., 7.3 hours.
7:30 in the morning. That's prime commute time, isn't it?
Definitely. Peak traffic. And the location specified is the Success Public Road on the East Coast Demerara, ECD.
Right, ECD. That's a major route, always busy, especially then.
And here's where it gets particularly interesting from an operational standpoint. The source explicitly states that at that time, 7:30 a.m.,
Yes.
the third lane traffic system was actually in operation.
Okay, the third lane, we need to pause here, I think. For anyone listening who isn't familiar, what exactly is this third lane system? It sounds unusual to mention in an accident report.
It is quite specific. Generally, it's a reversible lane system. It's designed to cope with, heavy traffic flow in one direction during peak hours.
So at 7:30 a.m., that would likely mean traffic heading into the city from the East Coast.
That would be the typical setup, yes, to ease congestion coming from the housing areas towards Georgetown or other main work areas.
So you take a road that normally has, say, 2 lanes each way, and you temporarily make 3 lanes going in one direction and maybe only one going the other way, using cones or special signals.
Precisely. It fundamentally changes the road layout compared to off-peak times. And that has big implications for anyone trying to cross the road.
Especially pedestrians. Their whole perception of where traffic is coming from, how wide the road is, it all shifts.
Exactly. It creates a much more dynamic and frankly complex environment. And the source makes a point of saying the system was active when the accident happened.
And the report doesn't stop there, does it? There's a crucial follow-up point.
There is. It notes that after this accident, the third lane system was stopped, discontinued.
Right. The fact that's included in the legal documentation itself, it seems to strongly suggest a link, doesn't it? A potential safety concern with the system itself being investigated.
It certainly implies that the system's operation was immediately considered relevant to what happened. It's a significant detail.
Okay, let's hold that thought on the infrastructure implications. We need to get back to the evidence about the collision itself. I understand there was CCTV footage.
Yes, and it seems to have captured the critical moments. It shows Navindra Mahez standing on the median.
The central reservation separating the 2 sides of the road.
Correct. He was apparently preparing to cross, and importantly, he was using the designated pedestrian crossing.
So he was at the zebra crossing. What happened next?
The footage shows that as he stepped off the median onto the crossing to get across the road, that's when he was struck by the vehicle.
The vehicle driven by Corporal Cumberbatch.
Yes. It suggests he was actively using the crossing point when the impact occurred.
And the impact. The report details how severe it was.
It does. It says the force was enough to throw him several feet into the air. He landed back on the road surface.
Awful. The injuries listed were severe head injuries and a fractured leg.
Severe head injuries and a fractured right leg, specifically. Very serious, obviously.
The report also mentions people nearby helping out.
Yes, it credits public-spirited citizens for quickly getting involved and rushing him to Georgetown Public Hospital.
So there was immediate help, immediate medical attention.
There was, but despite the efforts of the doctors, tragically, he succumbed to his injuries later.
And the post-mortem confirmed the cause of death.
Yes, the official finding was death due to multiple injuries consistent with a vehicular accident. That closes the loop on the incident's immediate facts.
All right. So from the scene and the tragedy, we move to the legal process that followed.
Right. The accused, Police Corporal Yonel Almari Cumberbatch, her address is given as Eastville Housing Scheme. Also ECD, she was formally charged.
And she appeared in court.
Yes, before Magistrate Abigail Gibbs. That was at the Sparendam Magistrates Court, too.
Okay. And the charge itself, This is the key legal point.
The charge is causing death by dangerous driving.
Causing death by dangerous driving. Let's unpack that a bit.
Well, the source even gives the specific law, Section 35(1) of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51.02.
Okay, but for you listening, just knowing the section number isn't the whole story. Why dangerous driving? What does that imply legally?
It's a higher standard than, say, careless driving. For dangerous driving, the prosecution generally needs to prove two things.
Okay.
First, that the way the person was driving fell far below what you'd expect of a competent and careful driver.
Far below, so more than just a momentary lapse.
Exactly. And second, that it would have been obvious to a competent and careful driver that driving that way was dangerous. It suggests a greater level of risk-taking or fault.
That context is really important for understanding the seriousness of this specific charge under Section 35(1).
Okay.
Procedurally, what happened at that first court appearance? It says she wasn't required to plead.
That's quite standard for serious charges like this, especially ones that are indictable, meaning they'll likely end up in the high court for trial.
Okay.
So at this early stage in the magistrate's court, you often don't enter a plea. It basically reserves the plea for the more formal proceedings later, once all the evidence is compiled.
Makes sense. Was bail addressed?
Yes, bail was granted. The amount set was $500,000.
That's a substantial amount.
It is. It reflects the gravity of the charge, but it does allow her to be at liberty while the case progresses.
And the case wasn't resolved then, obviously. It was adjourned.
Adjourned to a future date, yes. January 6, 2026, quite a way off.
January 2026. And the reason given for that long adjournment?
The report clearly states it's for the disclosure of statements.
Disclosure. What does that mean in practice?
It's a critical part of ensuring a fair trial. It means the prosecution team has to provide the defense team with all the evidence they plan to rely on.
So witness statements, police reports.
The CCTV footage analysis, any expert reports, everything. The defense needs to know the full case against their client so they can prepare properly.
So January 6, 2026 is essentially the deadline for the prosecution to hand over its full file to the defense.
That's the timeline set by the court, yeah.
Okay, that really maps out the whole sequence described in this one source, from the awful incident itself on October 30th.
Through the details from the CCTV.
To the specific legal charge under the Traffic Act and the court procedures so far.
So if we pull this all together for you, what are the main takeaways? I think there are three key things here.
Go ahead.
First, there's the specific legal charge, causing death by dangerous driving under that particular act. And knowing what dangerous implies legally that high standard.
Right. The distinction is crucial.
Second, the detailed sequence of the impact itself based on the CCTV. You have the victim, Navindra Mahez, using the pedestrian crossing when he was struck, and then the confirmation from the post-mortem.
Okay. And third,
this really unique operational context. The mention of the third lane reversible system being active at the time.
And then its immediate discontinuation right after the accident. The source itself links these points.
That connection is stated quite plainly. It's not just background noise. It's presented as a relevant condition.
Which leads us perfectly into our final thought for you to consider, based directly on this source material. The report makes a point of noting the third lane system was stopped after this tragedy. Now, road systems are meant to help traffic flow, ideally safely.
Of course.
But when you have a dynamic system, one designed for peak hours, and it's immediately halted after a 15-year-old is killed at a designated crossing within that system,
yeah,
well, it raises a bigger question, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The question it forces you to ask is about responsibility. What happens when a temporary road design like this reversible lane potentially clashes with permanent safety features, like a pedestrian crossing leading to such a terrible outcome? Does the authority that implemented the design bear some responsibility?
The source, by highlighting the system's operation and its subsequent removal, certainly seems to point towards a potential conflict between the infrastructure design and pedestrian safety in that specific context.
It shifts the focus just a little beyond solely the driver's actions towards the environment the driver was operating in, an environment created by policy.
Definitely something to keep in mind as this case moves forward. A layer of complexity highlighted by the source itself.
Indeed.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.